Hello, I am Nora Reis, a communicator in urological health and male well-being and maturity. Many know me here on the channel as Dr. Nora Reis because I've dedicated years to explaining in a calm and open way what is rarely discussed in consultations. The truth about size, circulation, and habits that can support or sabotage your intimate health. Today, we're going to dive deep into a topic that generates a lot of curiosity: baking soda. That white powder you have in your kitchen that your grandmother used for 1,000 things. Now, it appears in viral videos promising miracles for your size and potency. And I want that by the end of this video, when you hear the phrase, use baking soda this way and see what happens to your size, you can smile with tranquility because you'll know exactly what is true, what is myth, and how to use it responsibly to take care of your body instead of harming it. For years, the idea has been perpetuated that there's a trick, right? A perfect cocktail, a mysterious homemade recipe, capable of changing your size as if the body were made of clay. People talk about baths, massages, mixtures with lemon, vinegar, baking soda, as if the intimate tissue were a balloon that simply inflates more. What baking soda does in the male body. But the human body doesn't work that way. Size is determined by genetics, hormones, and development in early childhood, not by what you apply at 50 or the powder you take at 60. What can change, and significantly, is the way the tissue fills with blood, the quality of your erections, your confidence, and your vitality. And this is where habits, including some uses of baking soda, can influence indirectly, though never in the exaggerated way it's been sold to you. I want to start by clarifying something with total honesty. There is no serious evidence that baking soda alone permanently increases size. There is no baking soda cream, baking soda bath, or any miraculous drink with baking soda that changes the structure of your intimate tissue. What exists is a dangerous mix of marketing, desperation, and misinformation that exploits your insecurity. Why does this narrative work so well? Because size continues to be a topic loaded with shame, comparison, and silence. Many men believe they are below average when in fact they are within the normal range. And when someone promises more size with a very cheap ingredient like baking soda, the temptation to believe is enormous. My role today is not to sell another trick, but to help you regain control. Before getting into how to use it, I need you to understand what baking soda really is. Baking soda is a well-known salt in cooking with alkaline properties. It's used for baking because it releases gas and makes dough rise. In the body, its classic medical use is as an antacid in specific situations to neutralize excess acidity in the stomach. It has also been used in a hospital context to correct very specific pH imbalances in the blood, always under supervision. In the world of sports, it has been studied as a buffer that helps neutralize part of the acidity produced by intense effort, blood circulation, and tissues. What changes? In other words, baking soda is far from being a magic powder. It's a specific chemical tool with defined uses, potential benefits, and clear risks when abused. Now, what does this have to do with your intimate health and size? Here's the interesting part. The male intimate response depends mainly on your blood circulation, nerve function, and hormonal state. Anything that improves the health of your blood vessels, your blood pressure, your metabolism, and your background inflammation can promote firmer erections and better expansion of what you already have. It doesn't grow, but it expresses itself better. And anything that sabotages the circulation, like excess salt, uncontrolled hypertension, a sedentary lifestyle, obesity, and tobacco, reduces this filling capacity. And baking soda used naively or excessively can contribute a lot of sodium, affect your pressure, and overload your kidneys and heart. In other words, if misused, it can go against what you're seeking: healthy circulation and solid, intimate vitality. I want you to imagine a 65-year-old man. Let's call him Ernesto. He watches a video where they promise that if he takes baking soda on an empty stomach for a month, his size will increase and his performance will be like when he was 20. He doesn't inform himself, doesn't ask questions, simply copies the recipe. A full tablespoon in water every morning. After a few weeks, he starts to feel digestive discomfort, bloating, occasional nausea, but he endures because he believes it's part of the process. After a while, he notices something more concerning. He feels more swollen, his blood pressure rises a bit, and he sleeps worse. His intimate function, instead of improving, becomes more irregular. What happened? He didn't change size, but he altered his internal balance. More sodium, more pressure on the cardiovascular system, more general discomfort. His body is speaking to him, but he continues seeking a result that science never promised: size, appearance, and performance. What is myth? In contrast, I want to introduce you to another man. Let's call him Luis, who is 58 years old. He also hears about baking soda, but decides to use it wisely, not as a trick for size, but as part of a more comprehensive care approach. Sometimes he uses it in the kitchen to reduce the acidity of certain dishes, keeps consumption within reasonable limits, and above all, understands that his true remedy is to improve his circulation by walking daily, managing his weight, reducing ultra-processed foods, dealing with stress, and building confidence with his partner. Luis might try a warm bath with a pinch of baking soda to relieve mild skin irritations in the genital area or groin, without applying it directly to the penis, without rubbing aggressively, without believing that this will change the size. He uses baking soda as a gentle support for the skin, not as a body remodeling tool. And that's where the product returns to its place: a help, not a protagonist. Now let's talk about the most common uses of baking soda related to the intimate area and what it can or cannot provide. A frequent use is sitz baths with warm water and a small amount of baking soda to relieve superficial irritations, chafing, or mild discomfort on the external skin. In some men with intense sweating or sensitive skin, this can help neutralize odors and reduce the itching sensation. It's important to clarify something. These baths act on the skin, not on deep tissues or internal blood vessels. They don't modify structures, nor do they increase anything. What they can do is improve comfort. And when you feel more comfortable, cleaner, and fresher, your confidence improves. And when confidence increases, your perception of your own size and performance also changes. Dangerous mistakes when using baking soda. Another key point is the oral use of baking soda. This is where you need to be especially cautious. Yes, small, well-measured amounts of baking soda taken occasionally can relieve occasional gastric acidity. But turning it into a daily remedy or a ritual to increase size is a mistake. Each teaspoon you take adds sodium. In a mature man who already has a tendency toward hypertension, edema, or kidney problems, this can unbalance the situation in the wrong direction. More pressure, more vascular stiffness, more risk to intimate circulation. Exactly the opposite of what you need to achieve solid and healthy erections. Using baking soda as if it were a male tonic completely confuses its role in the body. Now I want us to look at the topic of size in a different way, more realistic and more liberating. When a man says he wants to increase his size, often what he really wants is to feel more secure, more capable, more confident in his intimate response. What he seeks is not a change in centimeters, but a change in experience. Fewer failures, less fear, more stability. And here comes something very important. If your circulation is working well, your blood pressure is reasonably controlled, your sugar levels are in good shape, and your nervous system isn't overloaded by stress, your intimate tissue fills better with blood and stays firm longer. What does baking soda have to do with this? More than you think, but not because it increases. Actually, because its improper use can sabotage that circulatory health you so need. Think of your body as a delicate system seeking balance. The pH of your blood, for example, is maintained within a very narrow range. The body has sophisticated mechanisms to achieve this: lungs, kidneys, internal buffers. When someone promises that alkalizing your body with baking soda will solve all your problems, including intimate potency, they are grossly simplifying something very complex. Who should never use it? At all, you don't need to correct your blood pH with spoonfuls of powder. What you need most is to sleep better, move more, eat with less salt and less sugar, stop smoking, drink enough water, manage stress, and, if necessary, adjust medications with a professional. These are the real tricks that favor your functional size, the ability of what you already have to express itself at its maximum potential. Now, how to use baking soda responsibly without turning it into a silent enemy of your circulation. First, respect it. It's not candy, it's not an innocent supplement. It's a chemical tool with real power. If you use it as an antacid, do so occasionally and following the product's instructions without improvising giant doses you saw on the internet. If you have hypertension, kidney disease, heart failure, or are taking specific medications, always consult before using it orally. If you want to use it on the skin, do so in moderate dilutions in water without applying it directly to the most sensitive tissues and without rubbing aggressively. Think of soothing baths, not enlargement therapies. And if you notice irritation, persistent redness, or discomfort, stop using it. Now, I want to tell the story of Martin, a 62-year-old man who came to the consultation and authorized me to share his experience anonymously, completely convinced that his problem was about size. He had tried everything: exercises, massages, homemade recipes with baking soda, lemon, and other mixtures that left his skin irritated. When I asked what worried him most, he didn't talk about centimeters. He talked about the fear of failure, his partner's look, a recent moment when he couldn't have a stable erection and got stuck in shame. Safer, natural alternatives. In our exploration, we found hypertension, a sedentary lifestyle, poor sleep quality, and extremely high stress levels. His size wasn't the problem. His circulatory system and mind needed help. We completely set aside the baking soda recipes and worked on daily walking, adjusting blood pressure medication, improving rest, and opening a space for communication with his partner. Months later, his size was still the same, but his erections were much firmer, and above all, his confidence had changed completely. That's the lesson I want to leave with you. When we talk about what happens to your size, what can really happen if you start using baking soda wisely and focus on overall health, is that your self-perception changes. You stop looking for miracles in the pantry and start building results in your arteries, in your heart, in your mind. You can continue using baking soda in the kitchen as an ally for house cleaning, even in gentle baths for the skin. But you won't see it anymore as a magic shortcut, but as just another tool within a care routine. There's another aspect I don't want to leave out: trust in your partner. Many men start experiencing normal age-related changes, erections that take a little longer, slower recovery, less automatic responses. And instead of talking about it, they isolate themselves, seek quick solutions online, expose themselves to dangerous advice, and go through practices that not only don't help but can damage the skin, alter the local flora, or irritate the intimate area. Using baking soda indiscriminately can dry out, deregulate skin balance, and increase unpleasant sensitivity. Imagine the scene. You're seeking to improve your performance and end up with discomfort just from the touch of your underwear. That's not how it's done. Final advice from the urologist. Sometimes the most powerful gesture you can have for your intimate health is to say to your partner, "I'm noticing changes. I want to take better care of myself. I'd like us to talk about this together." It's also important to mention that vitality and maturity doesn't depend on a single product, but on a symphony of factors. Your blood circulation benefits from a diet rich in vegetables, fruits, healthy fats, quality proteins, and low in ultra-processed foods. Your hormonal balance is better maintained when you sleep enough, manage stress, and avoid excessive alcohol consumption. Your nerves and intimate response are strengthened when you maintain curiosity, affection, playfulness, and emotional connection. Baking soda doesn't replace any of that. No powder does. But when you take control of your well-being, all these pieces start to align. And what you see in the mirror is no longer just size. It's presence, it's confidence, it's calm. At this point, you might be wondering, so is it worth using baking soda or should I remove it from my life? My answer is simple. It's worth using it with respect for what it's really intended for, and stop overloading it with expectations that don't belong to it. You can have it in your kitchen. Use it occasionally to relieve mild acidity, as long as your health allows, or for gentle skin baths when there's superficial irritation. But don't make it the center of your strategy to improve your intimate health. For that, you have much better allies. Walk half an hour a day. Check your blood pressure. Monitor your glucose. Maintain a healthy weight. Stop smoking. Drink enough water, and if necessary, talk to a health professional who can guide you with appropriate tests and evidence-based treatments. I want to end this meeting with you with a clear and direct statement. Your true size isn't in baking soda, it's in your circulation, in your habits, and above all, in your confidence. It's never too late to recover vitality in maturity, to strengthen your intimate response, and to feel more fulfilled in your body. But the path doesn't involve miraculous shortcuts. It requires conscious, sustained, and respectful decisions for your body. If today you decide to leave behind empty promises and start caring for your health from the root, you're already taking a gigantic step, much bigger than any centimeter promised in a video. And if this message made you think, if you feel that it debunked some myths, but at the same time ignited a new hope, I invite you to reflect on your own habits, to observe what you're doing each day for your circulation and your intimate well-being. Share this content with a friend who's stuck in miraculous recipes or who feels insecure about his size. Sometimes hearing a calm and honest explanation is the best gift. And if you want to continue learning, diving deeper, and caring for your intimate health with clear information, I invite you to subscribe and join me in the next meetings. Here we'll continue to talk with respect and without taboos about what really sustains your vitality and maturity. Oh,